Hello and welcome to this versus video. First of all, I'd just like to say I apologize for the wobbly video and the quality of the video. I will invest in a tripod and a better quality camera. But for now, welcome. If you're a beginner DJ like myself and you're on the market for a pro controller, out of the three I'm comparing in this versus video, I'm going to tell you which is the best. A very bold statement, I know. Nonetheless, I'll tell you which is the best controller and why. I'll also go through the pros and cons of all three, hoping to shed a little light on a decision which is the best controller for you. First off, we have the Numark NS7 II versus the Pioneer XDJ-RX versus the new Numark NS7 III, which you can obviously see is absent due to the fact that it's still not available to purchase as I speak in September 2015. But as it's a slight mirror image of the Mark II minus a few touches, you're not missing much here. First off, in this versus match, or in the case of say a boxing match, there's usually a pre-bout weigh-in. Here we go. The Numark NS7 II weighs in at around 16 kilograms. That's 35 pounds or thereabout. I'll not beat about the bush. Here, the Pioneer weighs in at half of that. And the Mark III Numark, I can only imagine, would weigh more than the Mark II, as it has an additional 3-screen display module. So whilst the Pioneer is the heavyweight boxer here, the two Numarks are the sumo wrestlers. Obviously, if you're gigging with the Numarks, you'll be carrying them around in a flight case, which is gonna be a lot of effort. But if you're just gonna stay at home and it's your expensive hobby, won't be too much of an issue. The Pioneer is significantly lighter, so easier to transport, and therefore the winner in this category is the Pioneer XDJ-RX. Round 2, build quality. I read a statement about the Numark NS7 II as being the best controller ever built. They should have finished that sentence with like a tank. When I got the NS7 II out of the box and set it down, I just stared at it for about half an hour, looking all around it. The top, the sides, the edges, the front, the back, everywhere. Other than the knobs, pads and switches, it's all metal. And heavy gauge quality metal too. Even the power button's metal. And the fixings on this controller to connect these panels together, they're all cap head screws. Let me show what cap head, I don't know if you know what cap head screw is. It's those screws there, you can see them. It's like I've got a hexagon head. All of those cap head screws everywhere. An engineer would know that these are no-nonsense screws. You know, it's a bit OTT for what this is, and I counted nearly 100 of them. This thing is solid. I can only imagine that Numark responded from a phone call from someone like Mike Tyson, I don't know, Arnold Schwarzenegger, maybe even the Hulk for a controller. Honestly, I could spend a whole of this video talking about its build quality. It is off the scale. Look, let me show you. Even these platters. Look, that's real vinyl. Real vinyl there. Let me slip that. Whoops. Look at that. The thickness on that aluminium cast. This is heavy. This is no nonsense engineering, you know. Numark Cut no corners there. They put in something with weight and feel. That is excellent to see that is still happening today. Well done, Numark. You know, excellent stuff. Excellent stuff, Numark, you know, honestly. And the switches and the knobs all have a quality luxury feel. I'm not joking, you know, they really, everything is nice, decent, solid buttons and switches. They're not rubbish. They're, oh, excellent stuff. Numark, as I said, they didn't cut any corners about that, you know. Very good. Normally, when you buy something electronic, you need to turn it on to see what it does. You could just stare at this thing and put it back in the box. That will be enough. Money well spent. Back to the Pioneer. I'm not saying it's not well built, because it is. Definitely is. You would never question its build quality. Never. Looking at it, the top plate is metal. Everything else is plastic. But it's a good quality plastic. Honestly, the controller has a quality weight to it. It definitely doesn't have a plasticky feel at all, you know. Honestly, no plasticky feel going on there. And the build quality and feel is excellent. You know, the buttons feel good. Their quality also, you know, nice, luxury feel. Do everything, you know, that they need to do. But it doesn't match the quality of the Numark. Obviously, the Mark III will have no doubt similar build quality to the Mark II. It makes me wonder, to match the build quality of the controller, if the screens on the Mark III will be made of bulletproof glass. Both Numarks score equally here, and they are both the winner in this category. Round 3, functionality. Functionality, if I can use that word, or functions. All these controllers have a mixer, effects and controls, but all three differ slightly. The Numark NS7 Mark II has got 8 of these velocity sensitive pads for your cues, your loops, your slicing, and there's also a sampler section there. It's got 2 of these motorized platters, as you know, with real vinyl on them, as I said, for for a DJ who wants to maybe improve their vinyl skills, or for a DJ who's familiar with the vinyl. It's got a 4-channel mixer. It's got a finger strip track search. You just run your finger along there and you can find out where you are on the track, which is excellent. And it's got clever touch sensitive knobs. You can kill your EQ by touch. And this touch can also be used on your effects. Very good touch. The Pioneer's got 4 pads for your cues, your loops and your splicing, etc. It's got 2 of these adjustable jog wheels that are lit in the center, and they rotate, the lights rotate so you know where you are on your track. It only has a 2-channel mixer. It's got USB slots to load your your tracks. There's one there. Oops, there's one there. And it's also got a screen, to monitor everything about your mix. All your information's there. It's got, where is it? A record button. Is that it? Yeah, it's got a record button there. So you can record your mix onto a USB thumb drive, which is good. The Mark III, although it's not here, has everything the Mark II has and more. It has rear USB slots, and it's got a module with 3 screens to monitor everything happening in Serato. Your track selection, your track information, your beat grids, your waveforms, all the information about your pads, samples, cues, effects, slicing, loops, your needle points, etc. So, with all those extras on the Numark, especially the Mark III, I feel that NS7 Mark III is the winner here. Round 4, style and looks. The Numark NS7 Mark II, I don't know, it's got a Eastern Bloc look about it, you know. No offense, but it looks like something that came out of the Kremlin. It's got a military look, you know, like it was made for somebody to do a gig on the front line. Although it does everything you need to do today, it looks a bit dated. These grey MPC pads, they look like some, you know, something from a 80s synthesizer. And the, you know, the dated vinyl staring at you, I personally think ages it, and it doesn't help. The Pioneer, on the other hand, looks very stylish, sophisticated, modern. You know, the lines and the design, you know, all the black chassis help here, you know, and it looks much fresher than the Numark NS7 Mark II and the Mark III. I think the Mark III, although it's not here, it also suffers, you know, although it's got a black chassis, I do believe, and the screen model in place, you know, lit up, it looks a bit more modern from what I've seen. You know, which is a much needed makeover, you know, from Numark. So well done, Numark. I have done a nighttime test of the Numark NS7 Mark II and the Pioneer XDJ-RX. It might be a bit whispery in the audio, but I'm going to show you that now, so you might have to turn your volume up. Nighttime display test. As you can see, they're both very impressive. A closer look at the Numark. There's lots of reds going on in the top half of the controller and in the mixer section. The bottom left, I've lit up some of the pads to give it a bit more colour. And you can hear the fan running in the background, which seems to come on when the platters are running, no doubt cooling the motors down. And as you can see, there's no lights showing you positioning on the platters, obviously because there's vinyl on them, so you'd need to know your position from the Serato that you're running. Now over to the XDJ-RX Pioneer. Also very impressive, and in this case you can see your positioning on the jog wheels with the white lights. Got lots of blues at the bottom, lots of greens and blues and whites in the mixer section, splashes of yellow, and the screen lovely and bright, also helping in your nighttime display. Out of the two, I would say the Pioneer is the nighttime display winner. Wouldn't you agree? Round 5. Value for money. I looked online today, and the cheapest price I saw for the Numark NS7 Mark II was £749. So I rang that company up and they confirmed that they had 2 in stock. So that's a valid price. The Pioneer is currently selling for around £1,149. The Mark III Numark I've seen advertised only slightly cheaper than the Pioneer, although that may change when it actually is available and in stock, but I do know it's a little cheaper than the Pioneer. So clearly here the Numark NS7 Mark II is best when it comes to value for money. I had intended around 6, setting up, round 7 ease of use, and around 8 hands-on. But they all perform well in their own different ways. I don't know if you're keeping score, but I haven't been. I mean, I was going to put a score over one, a score over another, so like 1-0, 2-0, 2-1, 3-1, 4-1, 4-2, etc. But no need for that. I knew the winner before I started this versus video. I decided on doing this video for a couple of reasons. As a beginner, once I bought my controller of choice, and you've done a few mixes, you find that you eat, drink, sleep, talk, and breathe everything DJing. So it's inevitable that you get to hear about the NAMM show. And you find out that for most of this year, 2015, there's been a lot of excitement out there about the Numark NS7 III. Once I watched the short videos, I realised it's no doubt a very impressive controller. Then I asked myself the question, what could the Mark II do? As I had no idea. Once I'd done my research, I was surprised to find out that the Mark III is about 95% Mark II. So I thought I'd take this opportunity, here to highlight this and compare the two controllers against another controller. My second reason for this versus video is because I'm guilty of one thing which we're all guilty of. When I was looking for my controller, I'd done what we all do. We stick to a brand we know and trust, and we play it safe. When I was searching for my controller, I never gave Numark a look in. Weren't interested. Call me a brand snob. But we all are. If we're buying a mobile phone, if we're buying a TV, if we're buying a car, or even clothes. Personally, I put Numark with the likes of Gemini, Citronic, Stanton, etc. As years ago, they all produced the cheap alternative turntables to the Technics, the 1200s and 1210s. How ignorant I was. Don't do the same. Shame on me. Especially as I now know that Numark is a brand that is dedicated to the DJ. And I constantly rave on about the SCS4 DJ controller by Stanton. There you go. And this is an excellent controller. Definitely worth looking in, beginners. Lot cheaper than the others in this versus video. Anyway, back to the versus video. Let me tell you, I would buy the Numark, I know this sounds daft, for just one single button it has on board. You can see that. Not in focus, sorry, but filter roll. That one button. Excellent. Using it on a mix. Excellent. Everyone has their own thing that can seal the deal when buying something. Filter roll does it for me. It gives a simple but sweet, effective touch to any track. Beginners out there, you have to listen to it. The vinyl feel on the platters, personally, it's wasted on me, as I wouldn't know a good vinyl feel from bad. The touch sensitive pads and controls are excellent and very useful to have. The onboard sampler is great. It's a great bonus. And with the Pioneer lacking, only having just 2 channels, it definitely needs one. You know, to add an extra hook line sample or a riff sample, you know, to a 2-channel mix. However, I hate with a passion, and I repeat, hate with a passion, the fact that you need to use a laptop or MacBook with the Numarks. But hey, look, I gave it a go. Yeah. Me trying Serato DJ. See that? Me using Serato DJ when I was using the Numark. So I gave it a go. I can get along with it, but it's not for me. But I now know what it's all about. Beginners out there, don't have a blinkered view. Educate yourself and be open to give everything a look in. Believe me, it's worth it. I poked a lot of fun at the ridiculously heavy, ugly and old-fashioned Numarks here. Maybe it's because I have a Pioneer XDJ-RX controller. So, which one is the winner? Which one is the winner? Here goes. The Numark NS7 II is the winner. I believe it's the best controller out of the Numark NS7 II itself, the XDJ-RX from Pioneer, and the new Numark NS7 III. Why, you may ask? Here goes. Well, it has 4 channels. It has a sampler section. It has that finger strip track search. It has touch sensitive controls, and above all, it's bargain price. So why not the Mark III, you might ask? It has everything the Mark II has and more. Well, it's expensive. You could buy the Mark II at the price I stated earlier, and even at a later date buy the retrofit screen module that Numark say will soon be available to fit the Mark II, and you'd have a good amount of change from the price of the new Mark III. It'd be interesting to know how many Mark II owners will swap their 13 to 15 inch laptop screens for the 3 much smaller 4-inch screens. And although it has the screens, the Mark III still needs a laptop, which is why I personally would still buy the Pioneer all day long. It's the winning platform, an all-in-one controller. All you need is this. And this, your power lead. That is all you need. Your USB and your power lead, and you're away. Numark are aware that the Pioneer XDJ-RX is the winning formula, which is why no doubt the screens are now on their new Mark III. The Numark's marriage of the laptop is on rocky ground. The laptop is now shoved away and they're not talking to each other the way they used to. And the separation has started. Who knows what's next in the NS7 Mark IV or the NS8? With both Numarks, you need This, your USB lead. This, your power lead. And above all, you still need this. Well, if the Numark NS7 Mark II went on a diet, had a facelift, had a makeover, and got a divorce from the laptop, then and only then would I consider buying it. But for now, in this versus video, the Numark NS7 Mark II is the winner. It is the best controller out of the three, I do believe. Thank you so much for watching. As I said at the beginning, I'll try and get a tripod if I do any more videos, and I might try and get a better quality camera. So best of luck whichever controller you do choose. They're all fantastic machines. Whichever one you buy, you're on a winner.